We're talking
Sound
hockey. Shipley and Meraldo talking hockey. Penguins are dead.
Oh, come on, pal.
What happened, boys?
Hello and welcome to That's Hockey Talk. That truthful but somber song was sung by none other than our pal of the pals, Bubba Gumpino. Gumpy, how you doing?
I'm sorry, pal. Had to do it.
Yeah, better than us, huh? Joining us across the coast back over in Arizona, Super Bowl champion AQ Shipley. AQ, how are you?
I'm miserable. I mean, this has been the worst week of my life, I think.
Okay, that's no.
Don't know what else to say.
Worst week of your life.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the passion. I am, of course, your host, Nick Moraldo. Wasn't quite the worst week of my life, but it was a gut punch. It was a kick in the nads. It was a beating taken by the Pittsburgh Penguins as they are eliminated in 6 games by the New York Islanders in a series. I think, even as Penguin fans, even if we were to be unbiased, I think a lot of people would say that the Penguins had every opportunity to win that series were it not for the piss-poor quality of the goaltender, Tristan Jarry, who I will remind you that AQ banged the drum for. Said, hey, this is the guy. Give it to Jarry. It's his. Let him run with it.
Worst take of all time.
Hey, what do you think happened to him?
I don't know, but nothing pissed me off more on little locker clean-out day today and him saying, I grew this year. You fucking grew? Like, are we joking here? That was the most pathetic display. That was a really good Penguins hockey team this year.
It was. In a really tough division, too.
In a tough division, you take their 4 lines, their 3 lines on defense, as good as anybody.
Fucking
goalie.
I mean, you had to have somebody else as a backup. You had to.
I think that's what made it worse was they had DeSmith, who was a serviceable backup, and I honestly think if DeSmith gets into, let's say, any one of those 3 games that Jarry arguably lost, I'm saying those 3 losses particularly, you could pinpoint on Tristan Jarry. DeSmith wins you at least one of those, and they're maybe playing a Game 7. But yeah, you're right, Gump. Like, a lot of people were fine going into the year with Jarry and DeSmith as the tandem. We talked a little bit about it. There was talk. Elliot Friedman has confirmed this, that the Penguins tried to get Marc-Andre Fleury back at the beginning of the season when Vegas was kind of figuring out what to do with him and Robin Lehner. It didn't work. It didn't happen. Now it seems to be their undoing. And I'm not saying Fleury would have been the savior and the be-all, end-all, because we could talk for hours and go back and look at that and the revisionist history of, they never should have let Fleury go. Like, Fleury faltered here a good bit as well. Like, he did not win those 2 Stanley Cups. Matt Murray won those 2 Stanley Cups. Fleury won his in 2009, but in the back-to-back runs, Flower played a part, but he was not the main guy, and he was replaced in the first run. Now he did come in and help out Matt Murray in the second run, but so on and so forth. We're moving on. He's not back on the team. He's got his own issue tonight because they're playing a Game 7 tonight. So I was one of the people who said, maybe a little bit more than Jarry and DeSmith. Maybe there's guys out there. They're not going to be household names, but there are guys out there. And I think that's going to be a huge priority this offseason because now the question becomes, does the team blow it up? Do they ship everybody out of town? Letang and Gino got one more year left on their deal. Like, I don't think you need to go to that extreme measures. And it's obvious they're still hanging on to a championship window that is closing, if not closed already. But when you win that division with that team, I think you can tweak it enough. You just need to find another goaltender to throw into that mix because I'm not sure Jarry can play another game in a Penguin sweater. And if he does, he's got to have somebody else there who's a proven, reliable, steady hand.
Nick, you made a comment, right? You made a comment when I was saying that they're, take the goalie out of it and they're as good as anybody, right? Yeah. You kind of made a comment like, I don't know about that, right?
But to me, what I'm thinking, I'm just talking about the defense. I'm just nitpicking at the defense there when I say that.
In terms of the
I didn't think
constant them pinching in the playoffs.
That's a Sullivan thing. That's the way Mike Sullivan wants them to play. He wants them to pinch, but he's got to have some self-awareness there and be like, look, we're playing a really disciplined, structured Islanders team.
They didn't want to play ugly. That was the biggest issue. The Penguins didn't want to get ugly. They didn't want to play ugly, and the Islanders did, and it worked.
Which it has forced them in each of the last 2 series that they've basically gotten smoked in, right? They got swept in the one and then 4-2 in this one. It has forced them to become impatient and trying to force things and make these moves, and then they get burned on the back end.
And it was a point of emphasis going into the series. They knew it. They said, okay, like I remember listening to them and hearing the quotes from Sullivan, and the players were echoing it, like, we got to stay patient, we got to know. But they didn't. They said that. It was all lip service. They did it in maybe 1 or 2 of the games, but, guys jumping up and trying to create extra offense leads to odd man rushes against. You got to pick your spots there. You can't have the green light to go every single time because it's going to burn you. And the Islanders were able to take advantage, to their credit, with timely opportunities. AQ, you and I were texting during the games. We were like, as soon as the Penguins scored, we were like, okay, here comes another Islanders
Here comes an answer within 30 seconds.
Yeah, and they weren't pretty. They weren't always pretty. Some of them were shots that were going to go wide of the net, but hit off an Islander guy who was going to the net, causing, net front presence, disturbance, ruckus. Like, to your point, Gumpy, earlier on the live show on Pat, you said the Penguins got to get in Sorokin's grill because they had figured out Varlamov. They were beating him. Then Sorokin comes back in, and he was calm, composed, saw every shot, clean. And he was on point. He was unbelievable. And then the Islanders, just with the timely, opportune scoring, when they had a chance, they made the most of it. And they weren't overly aggressive and left themselves open to mistakes like the Penguins did. So I want to say, like, I want to give the Islanders credit, but at the same time, like, if the Penguins had competent goaltending, I think that's a much different series. I don't want to take anything away from the Islanders.
Yeah, I agree. They obviously played well enough to win. They did all the right things.
They played playoff hockey.
They played playoff hockey. They played physical as shit.
They beat them up.
I was like pissed watching it because of how well they played it. But let's also not forget, all you had to do was lift your fucking leg up on a breakaway, and fucking Jari turns into a pancake on the fucking ice, and you just flip it over top of it. It was unbelievable watching that guy just flop around like a fish.
It was tough, man, and that's not even, all of this is without even mentioning the double overtime pass right up the middle, which is day one stuff in hockey. You never clear the puck up the middle unless it's your absolute last resort, and it clearly was not on that.
The last 2 games, the Penguins started up a goal too. If you start up 1-0 on the Islanders, like,
you should win.
Yeah,
you find a way to lock in.
You have to win that game. Like, I
agree, and I'm not a big blame the goalie all the time guy. Like, you can say, okay, these defensive breakdowns led to these mistakes, but at the same time, like, Jari's allowed to make a save. He's allowed to bail his defenseman out who fucked up, and he wasn't able to do that not one time. So that's the situation you get into with that team. I think they know, like, now that Brian Burke and Ron Hextall are there, I think they know what they need to do, and I don't think it's major overhaul and change in terms of breaking up the core. I think it's add some toughness, add some size, and figure out the goaltending situation, which you would hope they'd be able to do. Hextall being a former goaltender himself.
You know what time it is.
They've hit on most of the moves, honestly. You look at the moves they made over the last 2 years. They go and get Tanev, fucking stud, right? They go and get Kapanen. I don't think anybody was like, oh, that's a great move. Dude, Turned out he played well.
And I love Tanev's game.
Everybody was fucking shitting on that move. Unbelievable pickup. Will it be the same next year? Who knows? But at least in the short term, the moves that they've made over the last 2 years have been hits.
Yeah, I think you'll see changes. Like, I don't think Jared McCann will be there anymore. I think they're going to move, for sure going to move one of, if not 2 of, Marcus Pettersson, John Marino, and Mike Matheson, because you just can't have 3 guys who are offensive-minded, and Pettersson isn't offensive-minded, but he is, as a defensive-minded defenseman, he's big, but he's not strong. He's big, but he's not physical.
Fucking destroyed on the boards.
Yeah, he got taken out to lunch a few times. Johnny Marino, who's still a young kid, a lot of promise, he looked a little out of place in that series. And Mike Matheson had some moments, but that pairing of him and Cody Ceci got them into trouble at times too, because they would panic. They caused a couple turnovers with the puck. It's just not a defensive core. It's built the way they want to play, but I think the way they want to play is not going to win in the playoffs with the type of players they have. So some adjustments to be made, I think, mostly on the back end. I think for the first time in a while, it feels like they've got their forward group somewhat decently figured out. It sounds like Karts is going to come back next year and give it another go. I think people thought this was like a last run for him and he was going to retire. I know he still has at least one more year in the deal. It sounds like he might be coming back for another year. Now, he still could – we got all summer here. He still could hang him up. But that would be cool. He was a great addition. Sully, I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know what to think.
Bring in Torts.
I don't think
Sid's going to Torts. I'm fucking done. I'm a Lightning fan full time.
I don't think Crosby's going to go for
ugly hockey,
Torts.
AQ. Let's bring in Torts.
But I do think Sullivan needs to change his approach a little bit, or he will.
Bring in Torts.
I think they start the season with Sully, and I think he probably has a short lease to start the season. I think if they struggle out of the gate, I think he's gone. Anything else on your mind on the Pens, AQ?
No, I'm done with them. I mean, fucking enough talking about them. Fucking Kapanen shows up with a bucket hat, ready for the offseason, ready to hit fucking Huntington Beach or wherever he's going. I'm over them. Moving on. Let's go talk about somebody who's still in this fucking playoffs.
Let's talk about somebody who's still in this thing. And I don't want to talk about them too much because the game is happening tonight or last night. If you're watching this on YouTube, this will probably come out on Saturday. Vegas Golden Knights in Minnesota Wild. We were all pretty confident. The Knights were going to lock this thing up. Turns out, no such thing. The Minnesota Wild, as they did all regular season when they played Vegas, played them tough. To Gumpy's credit, Gumpy has been saying, banging the drum for the Wild. And here they are with a chance to advance as pretty big underdogs. I'm shocked, for one, because I thought Vegas had the depth. I thought they were more physical. I thought they were bigger. Maybe not necessarily faster, but more skill, more experience. And now Max Pacioretty hasn't played. Maybe he plays tonight. Maybe he doesn't. Fleury started out the series playing great. Seems he hasn't played his best hockey as the series has gone on. Kirill Kaprizov hasn't been exactly lighting it up for Minnesota, but he's been effective in making plays and whatnot. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, it's tough. We talked about this on Hammer Down. I'm taking the Wild strictly because of the plus 160 as a betting man. But in my mind, I'm like, Vegas on home ice, Game 7 in that T-Mobile arena. It's gonna be pretty loud. It's tough to win in Vegas.
The atmosphere is going to be electric. I mean, it is going. I can't wait to see the Cirque du Soleil fucking pregame. I wish we could get Imagine Dragons back on the ice like the opener. I mean, get them all going. Get the whole city fired up. But it's hard to pick against Vegas. I mean, they were the guys that I have them as one of the best teams, if not the best team in the regular season, right? It's like, hey, this is a team that's going to go play for the Stanley Cup, right? And now they're in a dogfight. I mean, you're in a clinching game and you lose 3-0. That makes you go home and start to question yourself a little bit. So who knows what team's going to show up? Fleury was getting peppered early in the first couple games.
It's been
showing up
every game.
He showed up, and now it's he just looks like an average guy out there. And again, to Minnesota's credit, that's a credit that I don't think any of us gave enough to. Right? I mean, we knew they were good. We gave enough to, however you say his name, Kaprizov, and we knew the talent that he had. But I mean, in terms of depth and in terms of that whole group, Billy Guerin, former Penguin. J. Maybe I'm a Minnesota Wild fan.
You mentioned music, so I want to go to the game that happened last night. When I saw Scott Stapp warming up in Bridgestone Arena, about to sing some fantastic, beautiful Creed songs to that crowd and get the raucous Nashville, Smashville crowd going, I thought there's no way. I thought this is going 7. It's a shame we've only got one series going to 7 so far. I thought Nashville was going to do it on home ice, and then they were up 3-2 late in the game. And then those fucking pesky Canes, they came out and did their damn thing. Hey, they're a resilient bunch. I think people thought they were going to handle. I know we did. We thought they'd handle Nashville pretty easily, but Nashville dug their heels in. They took advantage of home ice when they had it, and that was a much better series than anyone thought they were going to get out of those two teams, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I couldn't agree more. It's like we sat there and thought that might have been a sweep, right? I mean, I think there was a couple people that might have said sweep on it. I think I actually said sweep, or maybe it was 4-1. I don't know, but it's playoff hockey. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what team's going to show up, and Nashville's got a good core that's been around. They understand playoff hockey, and they got talent. They brought it. And
UC Soros played his ass off. Pecorine, this may be his last run as a goalie. He may be done. It seems like he's definitely done in Nashville. He may hang up the skates after this. Hats off to that guy. He's had a hell of a career. Let's go north of the border now. Gumpy. I thought the Leafs were going to make short work of the Abs, and they're still chucking along. That game's going to be popping off Saturday night. That's going to be Game 6. The Leafs had a chance to close it out, go down 3-0, storm back, go into OT, and then give up a 2-on-0, and Nick Suzuki sticks a dagger past Jack Campbell. And here we are. Like, I thought the Leafs were going to dice them up. I really did. I know all the past years and the playoff failures in 1967, and they haven't beat Montreal in the playoffs, but I thought this was the year. This was the year, and you kept touting it and saying Carey Price, playoff P, playoff Price. The fans are coming back now in Montreal. What is it, the Bell Center for Game 6?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Toronto's got a little bit of pressure now.
Yeah, I think Habs win Game 6. I think the Leafs probably get it done in 7. But
No, pal.
You think they got to win
the
6?
Leafs
The Leafs aren't
Game
winning.
6.
The Montreal crowd back. That place is going to be buzzing, dude. I like the Habs.
I said the worst thing that could have happened to to Montreal was John Tavares getting hurt. Because in that game, Montreal wins, and they probably you're a Montreal fan, you're probably thinking, you hate to see Tavares go down like that, but he's going to be out for the rest of the series probably. He's going to be out for a while. We have an advantage now. I think that kind of rallied the Leafs guys. I think they all kind of used that as a moment and said, hey, here we go. Let's do it for John. And now he's back. He's in the crowd. It sounds like he's been skating. It seems like, I don't know if he's going to hit the ice in this series, but, man, that'd be inspiring if he was able to come back for a Game 7. We didn't talk about that hit, did we? We haven't done an episode since that hit. That was pretty scary stuff, huh? AQ, what the hell were those trainers doing? Like, you can't let that guy try and get up.
That was about as bad as it gets. Honestly, when I saw that hit, the first thing that came to my mind was, that is the exact same injury I had. I thought for sure that's a spinal cord thing. He loses his feeling. And,
yeah.
And then when I see them, pulling him up and he's got no control of himself, I'm like, he can't feel something, right?
That was brutal.
So to sit there and say that he had no injury to his cord, no injury, they're saying concussion or whatever, but what is making your body shut down like that?
Yeah.
Something they're not telling us, right? And then, you see it time and time again. Any head or neck injury, you don't pull the person up. You put them there.
That's what I didn't get.
You backboard them. You take every precaution necessary. Pull him up. He's got no control over himself. It's as scary or as dangerous of a thing as you're ever going to see. And then his fucking hometown newspaper puts him on blast.
Yeah,
that was an unbelievable
the
front
Toronto
page
newspaper. I don't know which one it was.
Toronto Sun.
The Sun put the picture of him basically sitting up, trying to sit up on the ice with blood all over his face, and it was when his body went limp.
Captain Crunch is the headline. Are we joking here?
I expect nothing less from you despicable Canadians, Gump.
That's Toronto. I warned you. I warned you about Toronto. Boys.
No, but thank God he seems to be.
Yeah, he seems
to be okay. But I'm with you, AQ. I know what you're saying. That was pretty bad. And anything that makes your body act in that way, there's usually something more to it. So hopefully he can get back and he can recover and get full strength, because he's a good dude. He's not a dirty player. He's a star in the league. He's not quite putting up the 100-point seasons he used to, but he's still he's the captain of the Leafs, and that's a hell of a story for him. We hope to see him back out there. So what do you think? You're on the Avs. AQ, you think the Leafs pull this off, or you think the Avs come back?
I have to go with Toronto. They're a better team. I just can't look past that. I just can't. Okay. I know the Canadians and Carey Price can show up, and he has played well, right? He's played well. And you can get that crazy performance out of him every night, but they're just too much talent. They're way more talented on Toronto's side. I just can't look past that.
Yeah, Jack Campbell too, playing his ass off.
Yeah, he's playing well.
Let's bounce around now. Tampa Bay, AQ, your
wagon,
your former
wagon. Have you seen them fucking play? Braden Point. shot out of a cannon. Patty Maroon.
It looked like we were gonna have the knockdown, drag 'em out series. I thought, where I said Cats in 7. I said Florida after the first game, and then it seemed like Tampa took Florida's best shot. Just ate it right on the chin and kept coming. We talked about that a little bit. Okay, here comes Tampa. They're back. They've activated the Winter Soldier, Kucherov. He comes out of cryo freeze, and he's just unbelievable. And then, Florida, they had some goalie issues with Bob Drieger and finally turned to Spencer Knight. But it seemed like, hey, they're battling back here. We might have something. And then Tampa went and did what Tampa does and takes care of business. Now they're moving on to take on Carolina. That's going to be some fucking fire wagon hockey up and down the ice. That's going to be a series that, for a casual fan, they probably see, oh, Tampa, Carolina, who cares? But like that one's prime time for me. That's marquee viewing. Those games are going to be electric. I'm hoping it's like 4-3 every single night, because both those teams have a ton of offensive firepower. I think people underrate what Carolina is able to do, because a lot of their guys are defensive-minded, responsible forwards, but they still have a lot of skill up there, man. Svechnikov, when he turns it on, is one of the most talented guys in the league.
Okay.
Jordan Stahl's playing the best hockey he's played in damn near 10 years. They got a lot of guys, Martin Nook, and they got Jacob Slavin back on the back end now. Dougie Hamilton can lead the rush from the back end. And they're getting pretty goddamn good goaltending from the Delkovich.
And you didn't even mention Aho.
Yeah, because, he hasn't had, like, the eye-popping numbers he had a year or two ago when he signed that big deal, but he's still a force for them in center ice. And, he's a little guy. It's playoffs, not a lot of space, but still, man, he's still getting it done. I think he had 2 goals in the series, maybe 3. But he had 2 goals in that one game. How are we feeling about this one? It's hard to go against Vasilevsky, and I look at how Carolina let Nashville hang around, so to speak. But I think after going through a little battle like that, I think Carolina can put up a bit of a fight here. And AQ, this is purely to spite you. I'm going Canes in 7.
I like the call. I mean, that's great. But we just win in Tampa. I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, these guys, they figure it out. They got a great group. I mean, they got a ton of talent. And Vasilevsky's the best goalie in hockey right now. It's not even a question. They got speed. They got skill. They got defense. They got goaltending. They got everything imaginable you want for a winning formula in the playoffs. Lightning in 5.
5-piece.
Wow.
I'll give them 6.
Wow.
I'll give the Canes 6. I was thinking 5.
No respect for the Canes.
Lightning are winning the cup again.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, what? Colorado just that fucking
don't care
4-game sweep where they're just battered the puck line every game means nothing to you. You don't care.
Don't care.
You're saying the Blues were nothing there. It doesn't.
The Winnipeg Jets are coming. They took down the gauntlet of the Canadian teams.
Lightning have been there before, dude. I'm sorry. I can't see them going any other way.
That's another reason why the Leafs need to win, because they can beat Winnipeg. I know what Winnipeg just did to Edmonton, but the Leafs are a much deeper team than Edmonton. The Leafs need this. If they get bounced in the first round and Edmonton is sitting there waiting for it, like, they have a ticket to punch right now to the conference final. I know we're not doing conferences, but
you don't want to see a Jets-Habs matchup?
I love the Jets. I love Mark Scheifele. I love Connor Hellebuyck. But I've been saying the Leafs.
If the Leafs go out in the first round, they are.
Listen, I like the Leafs story. I like
hooped.
Austin Matthews, the American.
Yep.
I like Spezza. I like Wayne Simmons. I like Jumbo Joe. I like the veterans they've got. I like Nick Foligno, despite playing against them in the Columbus. He was a pest, pain in the ass for all those years. Like, I like the team they've put together. It's a very likable team to me. I would like to see them make a legitimate run.
Everyone's just waiting to go. Same old Leafs.
Yeah, they are.
They got it.
They are.
It's just they got to get over the hump somehow.
Granted, you're saying Lightning are going to win the cup, but is anyone going to stop the Avalanche from getting there on the other side?
I don't see it. I mean, they're playing at an unbelievable level.
We said Vegas. We wanted to see Avs and Knights, But now, like, Vegas might not even be there.
Right.
We know, and in my mind, that's also why I'm hitting Minnesota, because Damashek came on here last week and talked about how things in the NHL don't work out the way they're supposed to. And this feels like one of those things.
He put that juju in the air, and here we are.
It feels like one of those things where
Damashek.
we'll get a... But, hey, a Minnesota Wild Colorado Avalanche series would be pretty nice.
Yeah.
It'd feel like a nice throwback to the early 2000s when they had those
I like
those
this
battles.
Wild team, man. I really do.
They're resilient.
Yeah. And they could have won this series already, man. Like, they've had Vegas on the ropes. Like,
I'm interested to see Colorado get into it with somebody where
if Minnesota gets one early tonight, man, like,
I want to see how Colorado does if they're down
Yeah.
in a game or they gotta battle a little
Yep.
bit. And I'm not saying they can't do it.
No.
I just want to see it because
Face a little adversity.
Yeah, because
we'll see what kind of guys they are.
yeah, that's all.
That's
And
it.
I love Nathan McKinnon. I love Mikko Rantanen. Gabriel Landeskog throwing fists in the first round. Like, I respect it. Cale McCarr's
That was a great fight.
Sammy Girard's one of the best young defensemen in the league, and he gets underrated because he's tiny and gets pushed around a little bit. But, man, he can move the puck. And Grubauer's been playing pretty damn well. Hopefully he stays healthy, because we talked about that was the issue with them. They don't really have that much like the Penguins situation where DeSmith got hurt. Like, once Jari shat the bed, if something were to happen to Grubauer, they don't really have anywhere to turn right now. So, Avs Wild wouldn't be bad. Love to see Avs Knights. Would really like to see that. The last series we have left is the Boston Bruins, who handled the Capitals pretty well in the first round. The Caps had a lot of noise going on around the team. You know, Kuznetsov and Samsonov had the COVID suspensions, and they weren't there. Tom Wilson had all the noise following him going into the playoffs. Ovechkin was banged up a little bit, but he still showed up in the playoffs, as he always does. But Boston impressed me with how they handled the Caps. And then the Islanders, of course, we talked about that at length. Now they go against the Bruins. I think the Islanders, and this is, you can call it salty if you want, you can call it jaded, but I think they're going to be in for a big surprise when they skate across that blue line and fire a 35-foot wrister on net and it doesn't go in because Tuukka Rask can actually stop one. You know what I mean? Like, I know the Islanders will be ready and their fans will be ready to battle. They're no stranger to this. They went to the conference finals last year, but like, this is not going to be like the Penguins. You're not going to push the Bruins around in the same manner, and you're not just going to blow pucks by Rask. Rask is liable for an occasional leaky goal here or there, but not at the rate that Jari was letting them in.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be flabbergasted. I mean, the Islanders are going to be flabbergasted. They're coming to the bench like, hey, guys, what's happening? We just scored off 50 of these from fucking center ice a week ago. Like, what is happening here? Like, wait a second. It's not even getting to the net now? No way. I couldn't ever imagined it. Boston's going to run away with this. They're a way better team. They play the same style of game as the Islanders. They're going to be chippy. You're going to have to deal with Marchand, who's going to be a fucking pest all series long. You got way more firepower that is younger.
And your boy Taylor Hall, who looks like a playoff warrior.
This guy's resurrected from the dead. It's unbelievable what he's been able to do. But, you know, I mean, you can sit here and you can say all the things won by Crosby. Crosby's an unbelievable player. He's not going to get you a ton of goals. I mean,
No,
he may
he's
get
always
streaky
been a
and get a
setup
couple
guy.
here and there, but at this point in his career, he's going to create. He's going to play great 200-foot game, but he's not going to get you a ton of goals. The firepower up front in Boston is fucking ridiculous. Their defense is playing at a high level. They're getting great goalie play. They're going to fly around. I mean, the Islanders are going to be they're going to be in a different world in this series.
Yeah, I think in this one, health is going to come into play big time. Who can stay healthy? Because if Boston ends up getting banged up and they have to, like, Pasternak's missed some time this year, and generally they're usually a healthy team. They usually don't have their back end was banged up this year. They had to battle through that, but that also gives a lot of younger defensemen playing time who now may be a little more suited for the playoffs come this time of year. The Islanders, they're going to have to find ways to score, and maybe, like we just mentioned, maybe Rask lets them have a few here and there, but they're going to have to keep up that crashing the net hard, generating offense down low with the cycles and off the turnovers, because you're not going to beat Boston on the rush with the way they play. I'll go Bruins in 7.
7.
I think the Islanders squeak out a few wins. They played I know the regular season doesn't matter. It's playoffs, throw all that stuff out the window. But the Islanders did play Boston tough in the regular season. They bested them in terms of the regular season series. So and I respect Barry Trotz and what he's able to do. I don't love the way they play because I don't think it's the most entertaining brand of hockey, but it wins. So I think they'll put up a fight.
What do you got, Gumpy?
It's tough. I feel like it's the hardest one to pick.
I want the Islanders to do it, but Bruins in 6.
You want the Islanders? I'd rather go play with a fucking sundial than watch the
Don't
Islanders.
sit across from
Like,
Boston Connor every
on.
fucking day, AQ. You got to listen to Boston Stooge
I mean,
every day.
I'd rather go play with a sundial than hear fucking Connor say anything too. So
Yeah, exactly.
this is a tough one.
I know. At least
where
if the Islanders knock out the Bruins, I don't think the Islanders get past the Lightning. If the Bruins get past the Islanders, I think the Bruins give the Lightning a series.
What did the Lightning beat the Islanders in last year? Was it 5?
Oh, they might. Did they sweep? Was it sweep or 5?
I can't
it could
remember.
Have been. It might have been early.
I
think this is the series, though. I honestly, while you're looking that up, I think this is the series the Islanders are really, really going to miss Anders Lee. I think this is it. I think it's they got away with the bullshit from the point the entire series against the Penguins, but they didn't have a crazy net front presence. They really didn't. They got some juicy rebounds because of shitty defense, but they didn't have that constant screener, that constant tip, the constant shit around the net. And I think this is the series they're going to miss that. Boston in 6 as well.
I looked at the Lightning 1 in 6 last year. So, that's what I mean. Like the Islanders, they just never. I said this on Hammer Down earlier in the year too when I said I wasn't going to bet against them anymore because they just never get too high. And they never get too low. They just play that steady Eddie fucking hockey.
It's Barry Trotz, man. The guy's a fucking just a legendary coach. He knows what to do. He knows how to beat teams. Like he's done it everywhere he's went.
Look at what the Capitals have turned into since he's left in terms of playoffs. I think they've only won 5 playoff games I think since he's left. And look what he's done to Mike Sullivan and the Penguins now, beating them twice in series. Like hats off to the guy. I hate him. I hate his stupid little squiggly eyebrows and his turtle-shaped head, but
Looks terrible in a mask.
But the fucker wins, so I respect it. Any other thoughts here before we sign off, boys? It's Memorial Day weekend. We want to keep this short, as short as we could with all the action going on. We want you guys to enjoy your weekend. Hopefully, you still get a chance to check this out. We pushed it back this week because we wanted a chance to get some of those elimination games out of the way and be able to talk about all the series. We'll try and do it same time as usual next week, but it'll all depend upon how the games play out. Any final thoughts before we go?
Go Habs, go.
Looking forward to this Game 7, huh?
Let's go enjoy the games. Follow along with us on Twitter at That's Hockey Talk. We'll post clips, fights, big hits, everything. And check us out on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, you want to watch along, you can see Akey's big shiny head, Gumpy's big beautiful beard, and my stupid face. It's youtube.com/That's Hockey Talk. Nice and easy. Appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. And that's the show. That's Hockey Talk.